In the spirit of reconciliation, Grab the Trace acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples.
Welcome to the Grab the Trace podcast, a home design show to help you deliver your next project to its full potential. We're your hosts, Mikaela and Lachlan, and if you're looking for some tips and secrets for your next project, be it building a new home, renovating, or even just picking what window furnishings would best suit your space, we've got you covered. Whilst we'll try to help as much as possible, this podcast is of a general nature and won't be able to take into account your individual circumstance. If you need personalised advice, you should engage a relevant professional consultant to help make the best decisions for your situation. This week, we're talking about everything to do with bathrooms and ensuites. So stick around, pull up your plans, and let's grab the trace. Hi everybody, and welcome to our episode exclusively about bathrooms and ensuites. What they should look like, what decisions need to be made, and what you can do to maximise your space.
Hey everyone, it's me, Lachlan. How you going, Mikaela? You doing well today?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm good. For those of you listening at home, you're now listening to a fully vaccinated podcast.
Oh.
We are
We're
both double
done.
jabbed.
Would like to note, how random is this, that both of your hosts got vaccinated on the same days?
So welcome to Bathroom Week, everyone.
Oh.
Everyone's favourite week on the block, and now everyone's favourite week on the podcast to date.
Oh, it's my favourite for sure. Very closely followed by kitchens. I reckon actually bathrooms are my
You
favourite.
think?
Yeah, they're actually my favourite space to design and document. Definitely right up there.
I think they're probably one of the more challenging spaces in
I think,
terms of
yeah.
there's a certain set of prescribed outcomes for a bathroom, and if you can find a way to innovate or get a little bit of a hack in there.
I feel like people are a little bit more willing or open to experiment with the kitchen. They're, cool little hints and tips and tricks and storage and, even like built-in study desks, or they really utilize that space, where I think bathrooms, they're like, okay, pick a wall tile, a floor tile, a prefab vanity and...
Corner shower, we're done. Call it a day.
Oh, don't mention the corner shower, the dreaded corner. We're going to get into that.
Lift you up, everybody.
Yep.
Our goal is to lift you up. There are some situations where a corner shower is the only option, but
No
we
way.
want to make sure, no way, we want to make sure that you have explored all your options before you get there, because in our opinion, and all the projects we work on professionally, walk-in showers or non-core, like just your normal rectangle shower that you see at an end of a bathroom, to us that is a superior outcome. So we're going to get you there.
100%.
And
Easier
then we're
for
also going to
drainage,
teach
cleaning.
you. I love it. Yep. We're also then going to even drop some extra little bits on top of that about
Absolutely.
not just a rectangular shower, but how can you make this just something beautiful?
Something
What does a
wow.
beautiful shower look like? We'll take you through. We'll show you.
100%.
Mikaela, we're going to actually read out the first written review that we've received for the podcast
All
on
right.
Apple Podcasts.
I'm excited.
We read this out earlier, everyone, and we're a little bit excited about
Little
it.
bit
little
chuffed.
bit excited. What I'll do is
Don't
I'll
leave
read
them hanging. Come on, let's get to it.
Okay, we've got a written review here on Apple Podcasts. It says it's from Kafmar.
Thank you, Kafmar.
Thank you very much. It says, well done, Mikaela and Lachlan. Another superlative podcast, interesting and informative. Anyone about to embark on a building project can gain a wealth of information from these two vibrant professionals. It's
Whoa.
beautiful. Thank you very much, Kafmar. Everybody else, if you would also like to leave a written review, you'll, 1, make our day, and 2, we'll read it out on the show. That was
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much. We aren't doing any questions this episode. Every second episode, we're going to plan to do a bit of a Q&A.
Bank them up.
Yeah, bank them up. So that way, every now and again, you'll get like a wealth of information from us, and then you'll get from really interesting questions that everyone's asking at home. That's the plan.
Oh, my favourite.
It's Inspiration Gram time. Now, this week, I am going to extend a courtesy that my co-host Mikaela extended to me.
Oh.
Let me just pull it up on said gram. Being Bathroom Week, we thought we'd give a bit of a theme to our picks for this week. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you the inspiration, the Instagram page behind the inspiration for the renovation that I've just completed or nearly completed, especially in the bathrooms in terms of wet area design, tile usage, and style of tile. My pick is Nectar. So on Instagram, that's _NECTAAR. George and Beck from The Block. They were former contestants on The Block. They've now started their own professional design studio. And how I would describe it is it's accessible elegance. That's probably the word I would say.
It's such a beautiful blend.
Yeah. The project that I was particularly drawn to was the project Avondale Residence. And that the particular image, I'll lead it with my inspiration gram when we throw it up on the gram. But the image of that wet room with the bath and the tiles going half height and then changing, and you've got some terrazzo in there. You've got finger tiles. There's a niche. It's just stunning. It's, what is it? Was it brushed nickel or
brushed nickel tapware from Broadway, and then they've used the concrete bath.
Oh, stunning!
Well. Oh, so nice.
Something that is
I think that's Concrete Nation bath.
It
just
is
a name drop.
For something, when you look at the palette, you think, oh, that's quite harsh or brutal. Even just the styling of having that kind of stone-coloured towel draped over, it looks so soft.
It does feel
soft and organic and lovely.
I love the use of materials, but also the accessible fittings and fixtures. So like that's a simple beacon lighting wall light that they've used, but they've made it look so expensive. And then beautiful Broadway tapware, again, done quite minimalist. I would say I would describe that as quite a minimalist bathroom, but done really beautifully.
Yeah, so that's my pick for this week, guys. Go and have a look at that. Have a look at some of their other work. There's some really nice brush brass tapware in some of the other images I was looking at, but this was the main inspiration, I guess, for the design behind what we ended up doing at the house at Ipswich. So over to you, Mikaela.
Oh, awesome. Well, my pick of the week is a beautiful home actually done in Brisbane from a developer called Grayer, and they did this absolutely stunning house called Arcos. So highly recommend. You can just type in ARCOS into Google, type in Grayer or Grayer Constructions, and it's a beautiful house. It's a very, very expensive, gorgeous house, but some of the elements, again, I know we're touching on bathroom week, so I specifically chose this project to highlight their bathrooms, and they're, in particular, the materials and how they've used it and how they've done it. So typically, again, I'm going to touch onto it when we go into materials and uses of materials in wet areas and bathrooms, but I think the average person kind of thinks of a floor tile and a wall tile and maybe a feature tile if they want to add some interest, where they have actually used in the Master Ensuite, they've used Crazy Pave, which typically, most people think of an outdoor space.
External surface.
Yeah, they've used it inside. So automatically I think of like a spa, a day spa kind of feeling and aesthetic. So then moving on from our Crazy Pave floor, in the Master Ensuite, it's got this beautiful curved wall behind this freestanding bath. But instead of your traditional tile or mosaic, they've actually done like a Venetian plaster or like a seamless lime plaster.
Ooh.
Absolutely beautiful. They've done this Venetian plaster throughout the entire home. They've done it for the stairwell balustrading. They've done it for internal walls, external wall. It's everywhere, and it looks absolutely
unreal,
stunning. Absolutely stunning. And then I think it's just the simplicity of, the circular skylight above. They've got the curved wall and this seamless finish. They've got this Crazy Pave that kind of blends the outdoors with the indoors. It's kind of like this Mediterranean escape.
Yeah,
in the center of Brisbane. And then
Queensland Mediterranean villa.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's got arches everywhere. It's got very architectural designed lighting throughout. It's got beautiful concrete basins. It's got arches, as I said. It's kind of got all the design things at the moment. I feel like this is a very if influencers could have a house.
Yeah. And the other thing is to go back to our building blocks, they're big decisions in terms of design style and design outcomes, but I don't see them dating.
No, I feel like because they've committed.
And this is such a wanky thing to say. I actually think it is a bit of timeless design.
Yeah,
because
100%.
You get a really nice element and it just works.
Yeah, and I think as you kind of touched on with the timeless feature of this project, it's also about committing to a style. And clearly they've loved that Mediterranean villa aesthetic, and they've just completely rolled with it. They've done it from inside to outside, every single room. And again, those building blocks, they've committed to every single space, has the arches, has the same palette, they've got the same finishes, they've got the same design intent from space to space. Like, you look at the master ensuite and you look at the kitchen, they're so far away from each other, yet you know that has to be in the same
That belongs
house.
to, you could do almost like a police lineup of different bathrooms
Exactly.
and
And you can
kitchens
pick
that they've
every
done.
space.
And it's actually even a theme that they run without their different projects that Grey do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably credit to them and the designers as well. It is such a strong and not simple but clear message that they're
very
sending.
much. Yeah.
So you can very easily pair them together rather than it being like, oh, is that? It's so easy to pick.
And I know, again, I feel like everyone in Brisbane is definitely going to know about this project, especially in the design world anyway. But for anyone who's kind of outside the Brisbane bubble, please go onto Greyer's website. Please have a look at their other projects, and you can see even their timeline from, where they started 5-10 years ago to where they are now and how they've progressed. Obviously, their budgets have progressed along with that.
Yeah,
but
that's a sign of the success.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, without sounding too cliche, I think they've really paved the way from builders and developers through to
specialists.
Yeah, they've really
Specialists
taken over that niche.
Architectural design field in terms of construction. And I think they've even
100%.
got an architectural arm to their business.
Being in the construction industry or the developer industry, which they started in, and then working closely with architects and designers and being in that world, they've just excelled. 100%.
They really have. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Mikaela,
Yes.
next thing we've got to decide on is our house hacks for this week.
Yes.
Now, Caitlin's sisters have their first appointment for their lighting tomorrow. I was reviewing the drawings that they've got as a part of their tender, and something that was common there that's common in my home, and I didn't pick up on and I wish I had, comes back to insulation. So there's different ways heat and cooling works in terms of how it enters and exits your home. Your main losses are going to be through the roof, through the floor, and then through openings. So your doors and your windows, those are your weak points. Usually walls and maybe even flooring to an extent if it's like a slab. Those are not as bad for heat loss and gain because they've got that thermal mass attached to them, unless they're lightweight walls. I guess if you've got a brick veneer, those can hold it a little bit more.
You're in a Queenslander and you're up
100%. Yep.
on
and
the
you've
second
just got
story and you've just got timber
deck.
floorboards.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing I've noticed is in your roof space, for most of these to comply within the climate zone or band we're in, is within that band, they don't have to provide sarking under your roof sheeting, or I think they call it a bunch of different things. It's that really thin foil insulation that runs underneath the roof sheeting on top of the battens. That's not a requirement as long as you're providing proper ceiling insulation. I would 100% recommend you do that in addition to the insulation that they're going to provide, because if you're stopping the heat at the higher part of that roof or in that roof cavity, then the insulation you've got below that, above your ceiling, that's just going to work that much more effectively because it's less temperature that has to worry about. Another thing is, if you've got roof cavity that you want to have storage in, or like an attic space that you want, it makes it so much more comfortable to get up there and kind of move things around if there's that extra layer of insulation over the top. So that's my house hack. It doesn't cost that much, but over the lifespan of your house, it will become a cost neutral, even a cost positive element in your home.
It's a worthy investment.
I think so. Those kind of elements are insulation, if you can get that right. If you're in a situation where you've got a lot of sun, especially like western sun, maybe look at doing double glazing. As I was saying earlier, glazing is one of the easiest transmitters of heat and cold in terms of your building's performance in terms of thermal properties.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, double glazing exists for a reason. You can have as much light as you want. You just need to figure out a way of treating that. So that's my pick for this week.
Nice.
So if you're
saving
in
money.
Saving money by spending money, if that makes sense.
No. Worthy investment. Just like that's why people do solar.
100%.
It's a long-term
there's a return
investment
based on it. It's not. This isn't purely just for comfort. It will save you money down the line. So
great one. My pick of the week is quite a simple one, actually. Again, I think being in the design industry, obviously how you just explained, you kind of get your family members or friends or close people who are going through their own builds and renos. They kind of, just ask a few questions here and there and you kind of get roped into...
Yeah, into a corner at a party.
Exactly. Except this one, close to my heart. Shout out to my nephew who is only 22 and built his own house.
Really?
Yeah, insane. I know, putting us all to shame. But he's going through a project home as well. So that was my kind of introduction, seeing it from a client's perspective instead of from a design perspective. My house hack relating to project homes is lighting, in particular in bedrooms with ceiling fans. So again, as I explained to like my nephew, 22 years old, for building his own house, obviously budgets are quite tight, and I think this is a great one to get started with, because even with renos and new house builds or project homes, electrical, so expensive. It's right up there in the top trades.
Yes.
So plumbing, electrical, and joinery are kind of your three big outputs, I would say, in terms of budget. But I didn't realize with electrical, for instance, they have packages, and the standard basic package is a ceiling fan with a light, and that's it.
Yep.
So there's no actual downlights in these bedrooms. So
You move up to your batten lights after that. I've been there. I've been there.
Yep. So again, to go off that, we're in Queensland and it's hot. And obviously, as an investment straight away, you know, instead of going to ducted AC or even split systems, maybe the budget doesn't allow for it, just getting that air circulation, people are obviously more inclined to go to ceiling fans instead
Correct.
of standalone fans. My piece of advice that I gave out was it 100% is worth the investment from the get-go to install a ceiling fan without a light and to invest into 4 downlights in every bedroom.
Oh, see, this is interesting. I was actually about to come and talk to you about this after the podcast with that lighting appointment. Maybe touch on why the 4 downlights.
Yeah. So the reason for 4 is when you have a ceiling fan in a bedroom, regardless of the size of the space, if you only have 2 downlights, say, you're going to get flickering. So every single time that ceiling fan is on and you've got the downlights on, you're going to get like a shadow effect every single time that blade goes around that light. It's going to look like a nightclub, a strobe. And again, I went through this whole process with my sister's house. So she's got 2 young girls, and the same thing, they, you know, play in their bedroom from, 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock, and they can't because it's just so frustrating with that strobe light.
Gives you a headache.
Yeah, so she invested and ended up just doing the 4 downlights because she bought, like, it was a project home and they only had the 2 downlights in there and a ceiling fan. So 100% invest in the 4 downlights to stop that strobe effect, but then also no light from the ceiling fan just because it looks awful.
Yeah, you don't want the nipple in the middle of the room.
You don't. I remember like growing up back in the day with like, the old chain, the ceiling fan, and then you could only turn the fan on with like the chain hanging down in the middle of the ceiling. We definitely don't want. We've upgraded from that.
We have.
But then I don't know. I always get the ceiling fans with the lights on it. To me, just feels like a glorified oyster light. And I don't do oyster
such a
lights.
great take.
Like,
You don't do oyster lights? I'm so shocked.
I don't do oyster. The only time an oyster light is applicable is maybe in a basement car park in a multi-res. Even then, probably opt for fluoros.
Yep, agreed. Oh, well, that's quite good.
So,
I like that.
Yeah. So ceiling fans, no lights, white, and you can even get, I always recommend as well with a ceiling fan, even from like Beacon or Bunnings, go actually the outdoor finish. And it's a plastic fan, but it looks like a matte white finish. And obviously when it's up high in the ceiling, like you don't notice it. And to me, because we always paint our ceilings in a flat finish, the fan will just blend in with the ceiling. The whole point is to not see it. Please, please, please do not do a matte black ceiling fan in a white bedroom. Just don't do it. Do the matte black outside if you wish, like as an outdoor entertainment space, but in a bedroom, we don't want to see the fan. The whole point is just to move the air, have the benefits of a ceiling fan, not the aesthetic.
I love that. It's almost like what you touched on last week when we were talking about electrical items in terms of your light switches. You want them to blend.
Yeah.
You don't want them to pop.
100%. GPOs, light switches, ceiling fans, don't want to see them.
Yep.
And LED lights, let's be real.
I love it. That's it. Beautiful.
All right, so that is our house hacks for the week. So let's get into bathrooms and ensuites.
This is, as we were saying in the introduction, this is one of your favourite passion topics.
100%.
So once again, I, Lachlan, your lovely host, am going to take the role of conductor. I'm going to tell the train to go, and Mikaela is going to fire up and just absolutely drop some knowledge on us. I might chime in here or there.
Oh, Lockie's trying to act all shy every single time.
I'm a little bit
yeah.
shy, guy.
He's not. Every single time we're all going into a project and we're doing bathrooms, 100% architect is there every step of the way, helping me out with ceiling heights.
I've just been trained
set
well, though.
downs. Oh,
I know to factor those things in from the start.
Mikaela, what ceiling height do you want?
Yeah.
Are we doing a set down? What is this?
Yep. Can we put this bathroom over the top of there? No, we can't.
Too bad, make it work.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it up into a couple of subheadings and we'll just talk you through them.
Yeah.
In the future, we might do a whole episode just on baths.
This is just a nice overview.
When we talked you through mood boards, that was the super high level overview. And this is a bathroom specific what goes in here. So the subtopics we've got is what is in a bathroom, what layout options do we have, finishes and fixtures. Those are the three kind of main elements that I thought we could kind of just walk through and discuss.
Yeah.
And then that should give everyone enough to feel comfortable.
Even, by next week they can ask some questions. We can go into a bit more
great
detail on the bathroom episode if everyone has a specific question.
Let's do that. A little bit of call and answer.
Yeah.
Well, the first one is generally a bathroom contains a bath, but in today's day and age, we're finding more situations where the baths aren't necessarily required either
indoor
for space
bath,
or
outdoor bathroom,
just so many different options. So bath, shower, basin, toilet. Those are your kind of key elements in a bathroom. We also have made the kind of
executive decision
that we're going to cover powder rooms as part of the laundry episode, just to
because
keep
we've
this
got
pure.
we've got so much.
Mikaela, first cab off the rank. Baths.
Here we go. There's so many options. So we've got freestanding baths. We have back-to-wall freestanding baths. We have built-in baths or like a hob bath style. We've got spa baths. We've got outdoor baths. We've got, and this is, it hasn't been done regularly, but I have seen it around where they actually do like an indoor built-in pool almost.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I can bring that up in there's a particular project. Maybe I can bring it up where they've actually done a master ensuite and then they did this almost like a step-in lap pool, but it's associated to the master ensuite. So
I love that.
Yeah. So it's like almost like a Mediterranean plunge pool, but it's only like a meter by meter.
Yep.
And
okay.
it kind of acts as like
a bath. Look forward to that next week, guys.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
There we go. I'll go to that next one.
There we go.
Yeah. So let's go through those options of baths that I mentioned. So we've got our typical freestanding bath. So this is obviously completely independent, sits in the middle of a space, can technically be difficult to clean around if you don't have the allowance for it. We've got different finishes in those baths. So we have a solid surface finish, meaning like it's a granite composite. We have a acrylic. So that can be either matte or a gloss finish. So then we have a back-to-wall bath, which I mentioned. So all that is a freestanding bath. However, it's got like a square back to that bath. And what that allows us is we can push that bath up against a wall. So then we don't have those annoying kind of like pockets behind the bath.
Yeah, we mitigate
dust.
some of that cleaning issue.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of back-to-wall. However, there are some instances where it just doesn't work. Say you've got full height glazing behind your bath and you can't really butt that bath up against it and silicone it in. That's where a freestanding bath would probably best suit. Built-in bath or a hob style bath. So this is the typical one where you think about, you step into the bath on your holiday and you've got the shower above and you kind of get the best of both worlds. Not the biggest fan from a practical standpoint, just because, again, getting in and out of the bath, being able to happily have a shower, I always get so nervous. Like, I don't know, did you always go on holidays? Maybe it's because of New South Wales thing and always coming up to Queensland for a holiday. But like always coming up to like a coastal area for holiday and then always have the shower over the bath. So paranoid every time I close my eyes that I was going to like slip and fall. I don't know.
I've like to go on with the hob bath. I've got like just without the shower over, I've just got a tiled hob bath in my house. And the two biggest issues I have with it, and I have slipped getting out of the bath and absolutely destroyed my knee.
The square edge on the hob.
My goodness.
It's a killer. It's
one of the
take out your leg.
And this is way too much information, but one of the most depressing moments in my life is having to get Caitlin to come and help me because I couldn't get up off the ground after falling out of the bath as a 27-year-old man. So that was pretty depressing.
Oh, we're going to have to get Caitlin in to walk
100%.
us through that story.
But then my other issue issue with them, and I think you'll find that with builders, is it's a potential weak spot for waterproofing. Because if you've got the insert bath that sits on that hob, you're essentially still having that issue of having a small bit of tiled surround that is up against the wall that the water can just sit in, because there's no fall to get it to wrap around the bath and come down, because that would look ridiculous. So the water's just going to sit there. The silicon's going to fail over time because the water's sitting there, and then you've got the water kind of creeping in at a high level, damaging more of the timber as it works its way down. That's my kind of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
They're super common in project homes, especially if it's just a one bath home.
Yep.
And they'll usually do it in some kind of a setup where you've got the bath, a shower, and a vanity just in a
the
bathroom.
middle.
You'll have a separated toilet.
So there's a time and a place for a hob bath, I feel. And going back to my project from last week, where the main bathroom had a beautiful built-in hob-style bath. However, they did a little bit differently. So instead of typically just think of like a tiled box with a hole cut in it, and then you kind of drop this bath in, and then you have this lip all the way around to the top of the bath. That's a traditional hob-style bath. What I'm suggesting is doing it a little bit differently, and picture the bath as you would a basin. So where you've got an above bench basin that sits on top of the bench, you have an undermount basin. Exactly the same principles with a bath. So
hang on, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so instead of, again, you can play around with materials and budgets as well, or you could do a beautiful mosaic, but my favorite, like the project that I mentioned for last week, the MIM design one, was a stone clad fascia, a stone bench top almost to this hob, and then they undermount fixed this bath, so it was just this beautiful oval cutout in this stone box. It is such an elegant and expensive way to do a hob bath and still make it look super fly, but then also really easy to clean, because again, it's undermount, there's no lip, there's no water kind of catching on the outside of that hob. You can just, clean it really easily and push that water back into the bath. You can hose it down because you've installed a shower head, as per my last hack.
Got to do it, guys. You got to
do it. You got to do a hand shower. And then honestly, it's beautiful, it's practical, and you've kind of still kept within that realm, especially if you're doing like a project home and the layout is kind of dictating the hob bath, the shower, the vanity in the middle. If you're kind of dictated by that floor plate, why not add some little interest by doing that hob bath a little bit differently, by doing the shower a little bit differently, by doing a more custom looking vanity. Like, we can go into all those things. But yeah, that's a really nice detail for a hob bath that I found.
Love that. I've got a few questions for you, just to rattle off some information. We'll go into more depth in the future. But what I'm thinking is standard sizes for baths. So usually we're looking anywhere between
1400 to 1800, 1850. And they're just our rectangular or oval shaped baths.
Yep.
There's round ones out there, guys. We've got a 1500 diameter.
I love those to death.
Down to like a meter diameter. And don't get me wrong, in the right place, love it. Like, how many Airbnbs have you seen out there where it's
stunning.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. It just, to me, I just picture Byron Bay.
Yep.
First thought that comes to mind. But
for your everyday.
Beautiful. Takes up so much space.
And water.
Honestly, you would need like 3 or 4 spouts to fill that bad boy up. And then you've just used, the Amazon River.
Yep. To go on from that, in terms of water, causes weight.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So, to go back to when you were talking about the different types, where you've got your solid surface and your acrylic, something
Stone.
that you and I ran through was originally we were going to get a quote for a solid surface stone bath, and we got an acrylic quote as well. And in the difference between them, the acrylic bath came in at weighing 70 kilos, and the stone one, I think, was 280 kilos unfilled. So if you're working, as I am, in an older Queenslander house, that maybe the structure's not as strong. Or say you are working on a renovation and you're putting the bath in the middle of like quite a long span structurally with what's going on below, and you don't want to put a column in or extra supports, you might have to just do that. You might just have
to go the acrylic.
You might just have to.
I forgot to mention as well, like clawfoot baths.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hampton's Dream, like even steel with like enamel coatings. Oh, you could be extra bougie and like, the solid brass baths, the copper baths. Like, there's so many different materials and different reasons as to why you're going. But the most typical, I find, is either the solid surface, the stone, or the acrylic.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right.
That's kind of our top 3 most seen.
That's baths. Let's move on to showers now. Showers are probably a little more straightforward.
Oh,
but
are they?
I think so, in terms of...
There's not as many options.
Yeah, or there's not many options that work.
Agreed.
as we mentioned earlier, you've got your corner showers. So
Absolutely not. Sometimes if the space just honestly doesn't allow for it and all you can fit in is a corner shower, is it more profitable or valuable to you to have a full working bathroom with a shower than not? Probably yes. It's going to add more value having a full bathroom on your list of, what you've got in your house compared to one bathroom, 3-bedroom compared to 2-bathroom. You can't really call it a bathroom without including that shower. So in those cases, yes, corner shower. Would I try my absolute best to get rid of it? Absolutely.
Yes.
But they do have their place.
Yeah. So let's get on to the good stuff then.
Okay.
So our favourite types of showers are your walk-in shower.
Walk-in all the way. Get rid of the glazing. I am probably about 90% of projects, I would say wholeheartedly, I try and remove full height glazing. So definitely there's opportunity where glazing is the way to go in terms of if you're on the beach and you just want to encompass that view, utilize that view, see it wholeheartedly from your massive walk-in double shower, great, glass. That's the best use of material, definitely. If you've got quite a dark bathroom and you want to let as much natural light in, I might even be inclined to do like a nib wall, like I mentioned in previous episodes, and then do like a glass panel
top,
above it. Again, that's going to just lower maintenance. I'm typically the one in my house to have to clean it all. So when you're designing something, I always think of the end user, be that using it every day, obviously, but also the person cleaning it. And honestly, white grout, white tiles, mosaic tiles, glazing, anything that gives you ongoing maintenance, I try and eliminate as much as possible. So we're going to be talking about tile formats, so why you would choose potentially an epoxy grout instead of a typical grout and how much easier that is to clean.
I didn't even know there was a difference.
Oh.
Hang on, guys, I'm learning with you. I can't wait till we get to that part.
There you go. Large format tiles instead of mosaics, obviously more grout to clean. Glazing instead of full height walls. That's going to be, you always see, I swear, I go over to my parents' place as well, and they've got the old squidgy, the
Brillo pad with the handle.
And it's like if you use the shower, don't forget to squidgy it.
Like, down on the way out.
Let's try and avoid that if we can, guys.
Yeah.
There's also there is chemicals and applications you can use to glass to like stop it from
make it hydrophobic. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I learn something new every day.
I've seen videos on TikTok about people doing that to their cars. So.
There you go. So same principle for the bathrooms. But sorry, I digress. Let's go back to showers. So we've got walk-in showers.
Yep.
We have full height glazing, nib wall glazing showers. The good thing about a walk-in shower when you do a full height wall that's tiled, for instance, is the opportunity for niches and storage within that wall. Taller niches,
not just
double niches.
Oh my goodness.
Look, I'm a bit of a sucker for a double niche, just in the sense that especially family bathrooms where, again, a little bit of history of my background, I'm one of 6 kids. So the old family bathroom, it got used by a lot of people. So storage.
It's worked.
Storage is essential. Please remove the caddies. I grew up with the old plastic shower caddy hanging from the shower. Like we
talked about it in our first episode.
Yeah.
Like our very first episode. We're going to get you out of there. And if it's niches or shelf walls.
Absolutely
like
not. No.
Shelves.
Oh, nib walls.
Nib walls. Sorry,
nib
not
walls.
shelf.
Yeah. I was about to say, because my second no, apart from a caddy, no shelves. To me, it terrifies me to think that like I'm washing my hair, my eyes are closed, and I've got a bit of glass or aluminium like right near my eye or my face. Like,
no, we're going to get you onto those nib wall shelves that you're going to build in like I did. Honestly, probably one of the easier things that I've done.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
And also, we keep going on about the nib walls or the full height walls to accommodate niches, but plumbing. So being able to install the mixer for the shower right on the edge of that nib wall or full height wall allows you to, turn it on, let that hot water run if you haven't been, on the ball enough to install 2 hot water systems like Lockie explained last week. Just, you can let the water run, let it get hot. You can feel the temperature before you get in. I'm, a sucker for a rail shower as well, which again I'll go into when we do fittings and fixtures. But yeah, It's just easy. Everything's easy. You want bathrooms to be extremely functional. They are, without a doubt, everyone keeps going on about, kitchens are the heart of the homes and they need to be the most functional spaces. I find bathrooms actually get used more. You're guaranteed to use your bathroom every single day, where, there's some days where you could just Uber Eats it and you don't even use
you might
your
be
kitchen.
going out.
Guess what? You're going to be brushing your teeth every morning, every night. You're going to be showering at least once, twice a day.
Everyone's got to go to the toilet.
Everyone's got to go to the toilet. These spaces actually need to be the easiest to clean and the most functional to use.
Agreed. Let's touch on sizing for showers like we did the baths.
Yep.
What is
the ideal?
What is the minimum you would do as an internal width of a shower? What's the minimum?
Internal clearance, to me, 900.
900.
That is my absolute limit. Don't get me wrong, I have pushed it without a doubt, but for spaces that you are going to be using every single day, I would always try and at least achieve 900.
Agreed. 900. In terms of length of the shower, so from the shower head to the back wall, what are we looking at? Oh, I guess this almost touches on a bathroom. What is the narrowest you would feel comfortable designing a bathroom from scratch? When you're looking at the vanity to the wall behind you, because the length will change depending what you're putting in there, if you're putting a bath or a double shower, but from the front to the back.
The minimum that I like to work to, and again, I have done smaller, don't get me wrong, but a nice luxury of a bathroom, I would say, is 1800.
Yep.
So a minimum length to me is probably like 2.4. So 2400 by 18 is the perfect rectangular box to work with.
To give you a bit of context, and we'll talk about this in the toilet section, 2400 is the minimum, and that will get you a shower, a toilet, and quite a small vanity. And that is the minimum. Everything on top of that is gold. So I would probably be looking to give back to the vanity until that gets to a suitable size. Then you can work on maybe buffering out the shower and the toilet clearance at the same time. That I agree with that. And then in terms of the width, anything over 1800, unless you're doing something funky in terms of having the toilet
recessed.
Like 1800 works really well if you're doing everything in a straight line.
That's our traditional vanity toilet shower.
Yeah, it works for a reason. I love it to death. In terms of, I'm just trying to think what else a shower would do. Heights, 2100 is the minimum you can do in a bathroom, but anything above that is great. I've even seen a few examples of projects where the vanity and the toilet are at 2400, and then you maybe have a little bit of extra ceiling height to play with in the shower, and you have a reverse bulkhead. You kind of go up to 2700.
That's quite nice. Install a ceiling dropper and make it a thing.
Well, that's it. And we will talk about this in the accessories part, but when you're in a shower, what is there? So you've got your rail. You might have an overhead shower. You might have a 2-in-1 where the rail
arm.
That's it.
A twin rail, they call it, single rail. You've got a ceiling arm, ceiling dropper. You can have steam showers. You can have ceiling mount rain heads. There's so many options in terms of configurations of fittings and fixtures. I think we touched on, going way back to our original, was like a seat in the shower.
Yes.
So in terms of what can your shower be for you? So for some people, they're more bath people and they're all about the freestanding bath and the view and relaxation. Other people are all about showers. And yes, it's a daily kind of necessity, but for some, it's also a sense of relaxation.
Yeah.
So you can include that shower seat, you can include skylights, you can do steam showers, you can do ceiling droppers, rain showers. There's so many options.
Unlimited. And multiples. You can go as many as you want there. You can go the double. I mean, the triple's probably a little bit over the top, but you never know.
More is more.
I love that. Let's do basins now.
Okay.
So same style as we did with the previous two. So what type of basins? I think we might have touched on it in the baths actually, in terms of you can have above counter, under mount.
Semi-recessed. Yeah, so there's absolutely multiple options. Again, different options apply to different configurations with tapware as well. So if you're looking at bench mount tapware, wall mount tapware, there's kind of probably a preferred option with those. So you can do under mount, as I said, bench mount, semi-recessed. What else is there? In terms of finishes, again, very similar to our baths, you can do acrylic, you can do porcelain, you can do solid surface, you can do concrete, you can do stone, you can do any kinds of marble, granite.
Profiles, you can do square, rectangle, circle, oval.
Yeah, so again, there's so many different options there. Again, I keep coming back to function. It always comes back to me, what's the easiest to keep clean and the most streamlined and aesthetic. So for me personally, I'm a big fan of undermount basins, just for the simple fact that you can push all of kind of the water that gathers straight back into the basin. It's a lot easier to keep clean. And to me, it more highlights, it's not about the basins, it's about the stone or it's about the bench top. So yeah, my kind of preference is if you're doing quite a beautiful stone or that's your focal point of the space is this stone selection, then I would do undermount, absolutely. If, we're saving a little bit on our budgets and you're investing into tapware, for instance, if it's a little bit out of your price range and that's what you've fixated on, by all means, I'd show that off and let's do some beautiful bench mount tapware and above bench basin and just do a simple 20 mil stone and it's not about the stone.
Yeah.
So again, there's different basins, different configurations for different tastes and styles.
In terms of where you would want that to be height-wise, and we will touch on this a little bit in the vanities as well.
This one's a bit controversial.
Where do you want, and when we say the height of it, I guess the easiest reference point across those three is where is the lip of that basin. So if it's an undermount one, bench top height is going to be that. If it's above mount, it's going to be the very top of that semi-recessed. It's going to be,
I'm sure a lot of our listeners know kind of the basic design principles, but I don't know, maybe they don't. But our kitchen bench tops, for instance, 900 high. That's our standard ergonomic height of a bench top in our kitchen for working surfaces. For bathrooms, I lower that slightly and we go to 850.
Oh, there's a tip.
Actually, a good little tip as well that I did in our main bathrooms compared to the ensuite. So obviously ensuites are being used by adults. Typically, in a family bathroom or where I'm designing specifically for children, I actually lower that a little bit lower. So I usually go down to either 750 or 800 high. Yeah, just so you've seen the typical ones where they have the little like footstool and they bring it over. Super cute. If we don't want to see that, lower the bench. Then everyone can access the bench and wash their hands a little bit easier. So depending on if you're doing an undermount basin or a bench mount basin, keeping that 850 rule as the height, as you explained with an undermount basin, that's the height of the bench, so that's fine. With a bench mount basin, depending on the height of the basin itself. So some are usually, you can get low profile ones that are only 80 mil high. You can get really tall ones, which are like 190 high, 200 high. The top of that basin still needs to be at 850. So that means our vanity is going to go way down low. So again, the pros and cons of a bench mount basin versus an undermount basin is, in my opinion, the bench mount basin that sits on top, we're going to have to lower that bench height, that overall bench height. But then a lot of people these days like the floating vanities. It just means that you're raising it up off the floor and then you're lowering the height of it. So we're not having as much storage space as we could with an undermount basin. However, the cons of the undermount basin is obviously that basin needs to go somewhere and that plumbing needs to go somewhere. So that's taking up our storage requirements to fit that basin or to house that basin. Semi-recessed basins, I purposely haven't touched on it because I'm not a fan. It's like the worst of both.
Go one way or the other.
Yeah, it's like a giant lip that you can't push the water
it's the
up
hob
to.
bath of vanities.
No, because hob baths are still beautiful. We can do a nice hob bath. You can't do a nice semi-recess. Not with the lip. So you can do.
Well, that takes us, I guess, I might shift up the order a little bit while we're on vanities then. And bathroom storage, which is something that we're both quite passionate about now.
Yes.
I'm a recent convert to it. My own home doesn't have any above bench storage, but the property at Ipswich does. So you guys can thank me later, whoever ends up moving in there.
Yeah. I guess vanity storage first.
Let's do vanities first.
All right. So vanities and vanity storage. So we've all seen it. You know, the big giant drawers, like say it's, 600, 750, 900 wide vanity, and it's just one big giant drawer, and then you open it and then it's got like a U cutout because it's accommodating for the plumbing.
I know that very well. I had to cut that out 2 weeks ago.
Yes. With that, it's actually eliminating quite a lot of storage, which you can vouch for.
I can attest to that. I think we ended up losing, say, 25% of the top drawer because the trap for the basins, that thing goes low.
Again, it's style preference and personal preference. A lot of our clients, and me included, it does look beautiful where they raise it up off the ground. It looks a lot more streamlined. It's just one simple cabinet high or drawer high the whole way and it's really, really streamlined. Personally, I prefer just floor mount that.
Oh
just
my
put a
goodness,
kick on
just
it
do it.
and use that storage where, you've only got one small section for your vanity. So utilize it. Utilize every single square inch. That's my absolute preference because, again, functionality is always going to override aesthetics.
And as we all know in the last year and a bit with coronavirus, you can never have too much toilet paper because you never know when the next lockdown's going to be. And you need cupboards for that, guys. Or drawers.
Absolutely. A little hint with our vanity design as well. So drawers or cupboards. So I'm a big fan of ensuring that you've got a cupboard where your plumbing is for your basin. So that's just going to be the easy access instead of having this like little drawer.
You have to take the drawers out if there's a leak or if you drop your ring down the center.
Exactly. Just have one cupboard. Again, I'm talking more about custom vanities as well. So being able to obviously design how wide and where. Some people don't have that option. They want a prefab vanity. That's absolutely fine. Then I would opt more for a drawer because then at least you're utilizing that storage. It's coming out to you. You don't have to, crouch down on the ground and get all the way back behind those pipes. I would always opt for a drawer in that sense. If you do have the luxury of going custom, then I would integrate a cupboard where the plumbing is, where that basin is, and then drawers either side of that.
Yep.
Get as much storage as you can. I would floor mount it as well. Get as much storage as possible. But a little hack, if you do have the space, if you do have the luxury, and I think Lockie actually discovered this last week when he did a bit of a tour of my house, but I have included...
Oh, the hamper? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've included
the envy of my household.
I have included a full height drawer in my master ensuite vanity, exactly the same as I did in the laundry, a full height hamper drawer. So it is amazing in the sense that, again, we've got the split level horror show of floor plans. So with all of our dirty clothes, right in the master ensuite, it's there. It's so easily accessible. It goes in that drawer, and then every week when we do a big washing, I can carry it all downstairs. So much easier because otherwise, again, you've got to then integrate a hamper somewhere instead of taking up floor space in a bedroom or valuable wardrobe space in the walk-in wardrobe. Put it in the vanity if you've got the space. Highly recommend.
All right, let's move on to shaving cabinets then.
Okay.
Or you're above
above
eye
mirrored
height.
mirrored cabinets.
Because there's other things you can do as well. We've been known to incorporate maybe a little shelf or a ledge above the toilet space in some things, just to keep that cabinetry flowing through.
100%. I am a bit of a sucker for a nib wall, and you will notice in a lot of my designs that I do nib walls in showers, like I said, with a glass panel above. I do nib walls at the back of kitchen benches for storage when you're kind of cooking.
Got your oils, your salts, your peppers.
And it's like a little ledge that you can...
cookbook.
Yeah, love it. But also in our vanity designs and in our bathrooms, love to do a bit of a nib wall. And then that's already giving you a ledge and a shelf. And then you have overhead cupboards above that. So you've got like a little gap. So you've got your bench top, then you go up maybe 250, 300 mil, and you've got your wall mount tapware. All of that plumbing can fit into that nib wall. And then above that, you've got overhead mirrored cabinets. So again, lots of storage, lots of functionality. We don't have push to open mirrored cabinets and getting little fingerprints everywhere because you can easily access that finger pull opening door. You've got your decorative shelf as your nib wall. Again, while you're doing makeup, or you can put your perfume bottles there. It's just a super usable ledge. And then that's also housing all the plumbing. So your basin plumbing can drain at the back of that nib wall. Your wall mount tapware can utilize that wall. If you're doing a renovation, highly recommend putting all the plumbing in a new nib wall.
Love it. That's fantastic. I think that's all the storage you really want. We've been known occasionally to put a linen cupboard in a bathroom as well for towels and storage there, so you don't have to have it. But
again, a luxury. If you can fit it, I'm always one for filling everything with storage.
If you've got the space, go to it. We'll go back to now what was going to be in between these toilets. This one is probably a little more straightforward in terms of what we're doing. Do you have a rule about black toilets like you did black fans?
Yeah, absolutely not. It's white. It's a white for me.
Okay. Yeah. Even if you're doing matte black
No,
tapware.
I'm keen. Yes, white toilet, but you can actually change the like flush buttons.
Yes.
And the seat hinges if you're so inclined. You can do that in your brush
So
brass,
that would
nickel,
be
gunmetal.
the most you would go to.
Yep.
And then, as you're saying, for all the different finishes, those are how you can customize that
And I
toilet
know
suite.
this is a bit controversial as well, and probably a lot of people are going to get a bit angry, but Same thing with basins. I don't do coloured basins. It's a
Oh,
no-no
it's
from
just
me.
white?
It's white or neutral tones, something that's not going to date. I always find, like, in 10 years' time, are you going to love a powder blue basin?
Concrete basin.
Yeah. Which,
tough.
like, don't get me wrong, I love a concrete basin in a white or a soft grey or a neutral
Yeah.
beige, but am I going to love an emerald green basin or a bright coral basin? I don't know.
We'll
I
find
still
out.
have,
Yeah.
I don't know. Before my parents did their big reno, it was the time of the 90s and they did everything in, like, apricot, and we had an apricot toilet, an apricot vanity, an apricot bath. Everything was apricot, and now I think it's just a trigger for me, like, no coloured sanitary ware.
Yep. Okay, guys, make that a rule. If you're going to listen to this podcast, you've got to join us on our quest. No coloured sanitary ware.
Yes.
Okay.
Do it in your tapware. Let that
So,
shine.
with toilets,
Yes.
let's just get the main one out of the way.
Okay.
Like for showers and for baths, how much space do you need, say, between the edge of your vanity
Mm-hmm.
and the shower wall or the shower glass?
The provision where your toilet sits.
Yeah, how wide or what is the minimum width you would go to? Noting you
Yeah.
can go smaller if you want. It's just this is the minimal comfortable width
Yeah.
that we'd be willing to put our name to as the podcast.
Okay. I don't know whether to lie and say a little bit larger than I normally do. 800.
800, good. That's what I was leaning towards. Now,
800. I'd like to say 900, but honestly,
Yeah.
the toilet for me is the area to compromise on.
yes.
It's the area that, I don't know, maybe that's coming from a girl's perspective, but, like, we don't spend a lot of time on there. Let's just get on,
Yeah.
get off. Like, it's your shower, that's where you spend your most time. Your bath, that's where you're spending long periods of time. Your vanity, that's where you need all your storage.
I would
like,
much prefer to have a larger vanity, or you know what you can do? If you've got your 900 provision for your toilet and you have no storage in your shower, take 100 mil from that toilet and build yourself that
nib,
wall at the back.
100%.
Or change the 10 mil glazing that you were going to have, make that a full wall, and then
Yeah.
you can put niches in there.
And storage and
That's
build
it.
into that.
Beautiful.
100%.
For toilets that are in their own room, like a powder room,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts there?
That's a 900 for me. If it's in its own separate room, an 800 wide room, fully enclosed room, is just too claustrophobic. Like 900 isn't.
I'll be honest, and this is probably the first time this has ever happened, I'm going to go flat out a meter. I'm going to go more
okay,
than you
thank.
would.
Woof.
I would go a flat out meter purely because you're right. It's because you're enclosed
It's
on
a
all
coffin.
four sides. It's a coffin. And there's I've seen some powder rooms that have got 3 meter ceilings and they're like a meter wide, and it's a little bit off putting. In terms of, no, we'll save the powder rooms for next week. Ignore me.
Yeah.
So a meter wide for internal rooms. In terms of how far a toilet projects, that'll depend on whether the
Style.
cistern is in wall or not.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to go through the different toilet options
Let's
that
do
there
it.
are?
Yeah.
The most standard, I would say, is a back-to-wall toilet, meaning it's got the pan and the cistern connected, and you've got the little square cistern at the back of the toilet and the flush buttons on the top. That's our standard back-to-wall, what they say. And then installation of that, an S-trap and a P-trap, meaning whether it comes out of the wall or whether it goes out through the floor. There's 2 installations to a back-to-wall suite, same with our in-wall cistern. So an in-wall cistern is just referring to that cistern that typically sits on the back of a back-to-wall cistern or back-to-wall suite, means that cistern is integrated into the wall. So we did touch on this, I think, a few episodes ago about cavity sliders and how
Yes.
that couldn't go into the wall where we've got an in-wall cistern. This is what we're talking about, this in-wall cistern toilet. So this gives you, I don't know if you guys know, like the image of a beautiful just pan floating on the wall or floor mounted, and then you've just got these little square buttons on the wall.
Yep.
That's an in-wall cistern.
Love it.
And then we've got wall hung or floor mount pans. So where that toilet suite sits. And then we can go into our kind of like all of our bougie extras. So whether it's a Toto toilet seat, like the Japanese toilet seats.
The bidet built in.
Yeah, or a separate bidet if you're so inclined.
Washlet, yeah.
And then we've got...
There's different seat types as well.
Yeah,
like you want your,
yep.
your normal clothes, you want your soft clothes, you want your
soft clothes
wide seats.
Soft clothes is 100% these days. You cannot buy a toilet without a soft close seat. You just can't, because every single time...
Or you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't, because every single time you're going in public or to work and then you come back to your toilet, and if it doesn't have soft close, it's going to get smashed.
Yeah.
Because everyone just like closes it and thinking that it's going to have soft close.
There's no better way than announcing yourself that when you've got friends over for dinner, forgetting that and letting it slam down on the porcelain, and then everyone's like, well, we know what's happening there.
So yes, no No toilets without soft close.
Love it. Is that all you've got on toilets, at least for this kind of introductory bit?
Rimless if you want to go into...
I beg your pardon?
That is the worst architecture joke ever. Rimless toilets, meaning that the water... Okay, I'm not even going to explain. It's rimless, it's easy to clean flush.
Beautiful. Okay, for this next one, I'm gonna test you. We're gonna set a timer. I'm gonna set a timer. Mikaela, you have a minute to name as many bathroom accessories as you can.
God.
We'll go in and talk about some of the key ones. So we're talking about things like towel rails.
Oh, hold on. I need to include this in my minute.
No, I'm not stealing for you. I'm just letting you know. So 3, 2, 1.
Single towel rail, double towel rail, robe hook, heated towel rails, handrail, towel ring, toilet roll holder, rail shower, twin rail shower, single rail shower, ceiling dropper, steam shower, shower arm, bath handheld spout, mixers, a floor mount spout, hand shower.
Oh, you've got those really nice toilet roll cleaner things.
Absolutely not.
Strike that from the record.
Absolutely not. Oh my God, see, it's too much pressure. I don't know, that was...
Shower caddies.
No!
All right, well, you know what? That's been about a minute.
Okay.
So, guys, I think what that lets you know is, even though she listed them off really quickly, there is quite a lot that needs to go into considering when you're designing your bathroom in terms of what you actually want to put in and how many of those boxes you want to tick, how many boxes do you need to tick. Do you need to put in all of these things? Do you really need heated towel rails? Maybe. Nice in winter.
Yeah, I always
nice.
find if you don't have natural ventilation, if you don't have window access, or if it's in, a basement area, or if it's in an internal bathroom and you don't have access to just leaving a window open so those towels can dry.
Great
or
call.
If you really have limited space, like really limited space, and you can't fit, 900 wide or 800 wide towel rails, you're limited to 600. Go heated.
Well, let's do that. So towel rails, 8, 6 and 900 wide.
Yep, a meter, 1500. Yeah,
you can go as long as you want.
Towel ladders.
If you're doing double towel rails, how high are you mounting those on the wall?
So I'm a bit of a bath sheet gal. I don't do towels.
This is why Mikaela's here.
Oh.
I didn't know bath sheets existed. I thought those were just beach towels.
Oh my
Please
Lord.
go ahead.
Oh my gosh. So bath sheets, which is the only towel you should be buying and using, they're quite long, obviously, and quite wide. So I always opt for a 800 wide minimum towel rail, double towel rail, because again, I like to have 2 towel rails for me, 2 towel rails for hubby as well. So we get 4 towels in a space. They can air dry really easily. You don't need to have heated or put electricals. Again, heated towel rails can get quite expensive, but I mount the bottom towel rail at least 1 meter off the ground, and then I add another meter to that.
Love
so
it.
that means when our bath sheets are folded once, they're not going to overlap each other and look quite messy.
The final category I've got for you in this is drainage.
Okay.
So I nearly thought I forgot about it earlier when we were talking about vanities or basins.
Mm-hmm.
In your sink, you can have either your standard plug for your drainage, or you've got your
push waste.
Push waste, that's
Push
it.
up waste, yeah.
Same thing in baths.
Yes.
For showers, I guess are kind of also more...
Showers are a part of the floor drainage.
Yeah, so
not necessarily like we don't want the old, step-in porcelain base.
Yes. With your bathroom drainage, you've got tile insert wastes, you've got linear strip drains, and it happens a lot in project homes.
The polished stainless steel.
Yeah, those are kind of your 3 options. Tiled insert grates, if you can get them to work. That's
only one.
Excellent. Oh, you don't even like the linear strip drains?
Nope.
Oh, they get clogged, don't they?
Yep. I'm a girl. I have long hair.
Having said that, you can still do long linear tile insert drains.
You can.
Those still exist.
You can, but again, that's just more drainage to clean.
What a good point.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yep. Again, keeps coming back to the person cleaning the bathroom. And yuck. You do not want to be cleaning tile insert drains or any sort of drains with clogged up hair. So I highly recommend 100 by 100 tile insert waste. Blends in with the floor. You can, shop at places like ABI, Reese as well, and they do like metal finished tile inserts. So instead of just having the stainless steel,
you can get your brushed brass.
You can get your brushed brass.
You're not getting your matte black. That would be horrible.
Please don't get your black. I find like if you're doing black tapware, you can you're picking a metal throughout your home no matter what. There is always going to be a metal finish somewhere, whether that's on your appliances and there's
hinges.
A slight section of stainless steel. Oh, you can do white hinges, I guess, but I always opt for white hinges on doors. If you don't want to opt towards a metal, or if you've got, say you're doing bronze hardware everywhere and it's quite a hard metal to match, I opt for white and then paint the door white, the door jambs white, the architraves, everything matches. Sorry.
Free hack, everyone.
Yeah, we digress again.
You're going to have to pick a metal somewhere in your house.
Yeah, we're going to have to pick a metal somewhere in our house. So in kitchens, for instance, there's going to be a slight, maybe stainless steel on your appliances or your door latches, not the actual levers themselves, the striker.
The actual striker from the lever. Yeah, they're not doing them in black because that would scratch.
Phew.
Oh my God, you've got black handles. Go and check.
Yeah, no, we've got black handles and black plates.
But the actual striker is
stainless.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's move on.
Yeah, okay,
Listen, guys, let's power through this end bit because even though it might feel like we're rushing this, we're going to be back.
Yeah, we will.
So
100%.
We've talked about layouts a bit already.
Mm-hmm.
Our favoured one is just your classic vanilla straight bathroom.
Yeah, I'm a big fan and you'll see it every single time I guess we see it in multi-res a lot. We're trying to design a lot of bathrooms to fit in a giant jigsaw puzzle at the end of the day. Always opt for a rectangular bathroom over a square. A square is almost impossible to fit out functionally. There's always either a huge waste of space in the middle of the room or I feel like every fitting in a bathroom needs a wall. So you end up just putting the shower in the corner, the bath in the corner, the vanity in the corner, like everything's just pushed to a wall and then you've got this dead space in the middle. Or you end up having to opt for like a corner shower because you need a corner in a square layout.
That's all you've got left.
Yeah, you always need the end to fit your shower.
Yeah, agreed. So going on from that, there is unique situations where you can have things like you might have a rectangular bathroom for your vanity, your shower and your bath, but you might have the toilet separated off. Yep. And that doesn't necessarily have to form that. You might even form like a bit of an L shape or something where the toilet is tucked off.
Yep.
Something we haven't touched on yet is if you're doing vanity, toilet, shower, bath, if you're going to do a wet room, you just take those two dimensions that we gave you earlier with the shower. So you're going to have a little bit of shared space. But what else do we need to think of with a wet room in terms of stopping overspray from your shower going into your bath?
I hear this a lot from a lot of our clients where they're like, oh, I hate the wet room. It's so hard to keep clean. It stops me in my tracks a little bit because at the end of the day, a bath is literally a vessel to hold water.
It's designed to drain it away.
It's literally designed to drain away. You're
gonna
actually like semi-cleaning it while you have a shower.
And you're going to get less mess in terms of your grout because some of the water's going in the bath. So it's fine.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a wet area layout, 100%. We are doing a lot on the coasts in particular, or somewhere where there's a view where they always want to do the wet area with the bath at the end and then do like a glazed window through to the master ensuite, which is quite nice.
I think that's generally what we condone with the design. When we're saying you do a rectangular bathroom layout or an ensuite, you can throw curves in there. Like we've got a project that we're finishing up at St. Lucia that's got these lovely, in the shower recess, it's got these two lovely semicircle walls at either end of the shower. And for what is a rectangular bathroom ensuite, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
it
so
is.
nice.
It adds a little bit of
And you know what that leads on
design.
to is our next thing, which is your finishes. So in that case, to achieve that curve, because we're tiling everything, we used very thin finger tile, and that allowed us to get that radius and that curve.
The Kit Kat tile, everyone knows.
I was going to say Kit Kat, but I was worried I was going to get yelled at.
Tile.
Yeah. They're like 20 mil or 2 centimeters wide by 100 or 150 millimeters high, 75 even. And that allows you to get a nice gentle curve rather than having to split a larger tile up into segments, which you'll see, unless that's your desired effect, but I don't think it would be. Let's move into our finishes with our fixtures. So we've touched on a couple of different options for your tapware, your sanitary ware in terms of
white, black, bronze. We've got brush brass, brush nickel, gunmetal. And again, depending on what brand we're going with, like you could have 5 different types of brush brasses.
Yeah.
Whether that be something organic. So when we're talking about, maybe it's great to touch on the different types, not necessarily the colours, but different types of platings.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, go ahead.
Most people, when they think of tapware, they think of the colours available, where I'm not only looking at the colour as a design professional, I'm looking at the longevity, the warranties, and the maintenance with that tapware and those different price points. So I'm always inclined to go to a PVD finish. PVD stands for physical vapor deposition, a coating technique used to deposit a thin film on the surface of a bathroom product such as tapware, showers, and accessories. So the great thing about PVD PVD is how durable and how long lasting it is. So for me, that's the epitome of the finish that I'm looking for. That's going to give us the highest warranties and the best outcome. Instead of PVD, you can go and look at tapware in an electroplate finish. So an electroplate finish is a general name for a process that produces a metal coating on a solid substrate. So typically all tapware is made from brass, and then we've got an electroplating finish. Prior to PVD finish, electroplating was kind of the standard. Unfortunately, electroplating does have a lifetime.
There's limitations.
There's a lifespan to that. So it can scratch and it can wear. And then after electroplating, there's
our powder-coated.
Our powder-coated finish.
Anodized.
Yep, which again can scratch, can wear, a lot easier than electroplating. For our matte black and our matte white, we can't actually get that in a PVD or an electroplated finish. So every time we see a matte white or a matte black tapware, that can scratch. It will scratch eventually and it will wear, compared to our metal finishes, which is just a brass that has been coloured or treated with like a brushed finish to it. That's the more optimal finish that's going to give you a longer warranty or a longer
And as we were saying
longevity.
Last week, things aging or scratching isn't the end of the world.
No,
but
not at all.
If it is something you're concerned about or you don't like, it's just maybe something to factor in, that maybe even for your internal door hardware with rings.
Yep.
That's such an easy way to scratch things up, especially even stair handrails. If you're going to go a finish other than timber, for example, if you're going to go powder-coated aluminium, it is going to scratch, unfortunately. So just factor it in.
Just be mindful. And again, I touched on this in our last episode. The beauty of materials is sometimes them aging.
Brass.
So, it's beautiful. Or even a big one in the tapware world is an organic finish. So again, those brush brass or brass finishes that when they age and they go organic, they actually tarnish and they go green in places.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
That's actually a part of the beauty of it as well.
Yeah.
So again, all these finishes and all these options need to be thought about from a functional standpoint. If you're the type of person that goes, no, what I'm buying is exactly what I want in 10 years' time, I don't want it to look any different, then you know what? I would probably opt for a PVD finish in one of those finishes that is going to give you long-term aesthetics. Compared to maybe, you have a very organic house and you want it to age with you and age beautifully and age with time, then I would opt for more an organic finish.
With the PVD finish, there's obviously some cost involved with that because you are getting that longer lifespan of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an investment. You're
100%.
investing in that for the ability to have it be as it was on day one after however many years with it. I think that's actually quite a good little introduction to that. I think that's important as well.
Yeah.
So good job for remembering to touch on that. With our finishes. So we'll just whip through these because we'll do a whole episode on tiles just alone. Tiles, what are your main categories?
Porcelain, ceramic, stone, and then formats. So in terms of mosaic, crazy pave, cobblestone, then we've got our typical 4x4, 3x6, 3x3, 6x6, 6x9, 9x9, 12x6. Like we've got so many different standard formats. The only thing I want to touch on with formats and something to be mindful of is the size and the space of your wet area or your bathroom. Please be mindful when it comes to drainage. So if you're like, I want this beautiful 600 by 1200 tile because I want less grout and I want it to be easy to clean, and I love this tile because I've used it throughout the home and I just want to blend it into the bathrooms.
Split city.
Yeah, your tiler is still going to have to make that work in terms of it's still a wet area at the end of the day. So for functionality, he wants that water to drain away from your hallway or away from that space. So your shower, for instance, if it's say 1 meter wide, like we've just recommended, it's 1 meter wide, but you've got a 12 by 600 tile, it's going to have so many cuts in it for the tiler to be able to drain that water away from the shower opening. And then vice versa, you've got a floor waste in the center of your bathroom. Again, we're going to have to get all of that to fall away from the hallway, away from the shower, away from the vanity. Drainage is going to definitely take precedence over the look.
Unfortunately, drainage trumps.
It trumps
aesthetics.
everything in a bathroom.
Yeah. Agreed.
What's another option to tiles?
Something that you and I have experimented with on my renovation, where I was the guinea pig, was doing a external cladding as your wall surface.
Yeah.
So we used James Hardie's Axon, which is an exterior cladding that's used usually in a vertical profile.
Well, yeah, it's do and explain what it is. So it's an FC product.
Yeah, so
which
it's a fiber cement sheet. What that means is it's a quite a dense board. It does weigh quite a lot. So think of plasterboard, but way denser than that. And because it's a fibrous cement product, that means that it has waterproof qualities or water resistant qualities to it. So essentially that board, because it's the same as you would use it externally, its job is to prevent water from passing through. So what we've done is on the renovation, we've got VJ paneling in all our normal non-wet areas. And so we've used the Axon sheeting in our wet areas to bring that kind of VJ profile in.
It's such a nice way to bring, again, those building blocks, those holistic design outcomes, bring it into every space. I think it was, such a beautiful inclusion.
The other main advantage to it was there's two things that I absolutely refuse to do on a renovation. It's electrical stuff and waterproofing / tiling where it matters.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put my hand up and have a crack at doing like external tiling in terms of paving or whatever. I'll have a go at that. For those bigger ticket items, I just absolutely won't touch it. Where on the other hand, we did the VJ boards outside of the wet area, so outside of the shower cubicle, I guess I'd call it. We did it on we did it on the walls surrounding our vanity in the toilet.
Yeah, which again, I think we'll touch in on our next episode when it comes to laundries and powder rooms.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we've done that. And it just, it's something that I just got a special blade on a circular saw. I put a really good dust preventative mask and cut it all outside, and I could install it myself. It's not something that I needed a specialist trade for.
Yeah, beautiful.
And even from a weight point of view, that Axon or that fiber cement sheet is less weight than tiling that wall.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to wait for the glue to dry. You don't need a specialist trade to do it unless you're getting a carpenter to do it for you. And you get the benefit of it being a wall that you can paint any colour you want. You don't need to be locked into whatever colour tile that you've chosen.
Definitely.
You can change it up. And it looks really, really nice. And I mean, if you want to go that next step, there is, especially with Axon, there's the option of getting it in a wood grain finish. I thought that was a little much for me, so I just went the smooth. The smooth. 100%. And it's 133mm spacings with the boards. It's a little bit wider than the VJ boards you could get through EasyCraft, but you don't notice.
Yeah, not 33mm, no one would ever notice. But EasyCraft as well, they actually do provide a
moisture
wet area board as well if you're so inclined. Yeah, it's just I think it actually ends up being a little bit more expensive than using the Axon.
And you've got to, with the EasyCraft one, you've got to paint the back of it to seal that against water in the cavity, just in case there's humidity or condensation in the cavity. But
so an additional cost.
It's a lot lighter. It is a lot lighter than the FC sheet. Like
easier to cut and move.
Just a side story: when we got ours delivered on site, the Bunnings guy refused to drop it down the side of our house. So he dropped it at the front. We lifted 11 sheets of Axon down the back. We had to take 28 sheets of Villaboard, which is the normal wet area lining that you can paint and use as your ceiling or whatever, or your tile substrate. And then I had, I think, 11 of these floorboard things that were like 20mm thick. They would have weighed probably 38 kilos. I nearly died moving those far out. I think that is the tightest and the most sore I've ever been after doing this whole process. So we moved them just into the shed so no one would steal them, and then had to individually drag them all back in. So we triple handled it because we're absolute geniuses.
Let alone having to like cut out a GPO or a light switch on that.
I got so good at it at the end. I only wasted one board.
Look at you. You're a star.
I mean, I say I wasted one board. I've got to do a little bit of silicon magic this weekend.
Magic.
Because where I put the mixer in the main bathroom, I got it about 5mm out, and even the back plate they gave me, you can just see the edge.
So a little bit of silicon, no one will know.
A little bit of silicon, it'll be fine.
Or even a little bit of putty and paint. You'll never know.
Goodness.
Or other options. So we touched on, obviously, Axon cladding, using it as an internal wall lining. We've touched on tiles.
Mm-hmm.
So I touched on it with my Inspiration Gram, and they did an amazing lime plaster or Venetian plaster, or the traditional term Tattalact. Very, very expensive. like very expensive. We're looking at 300 to 350 a square meter, and only particular plasterers have qualifications to do that. It's quite a process as well with how many layers you need to do to ensure, obviously, that that space is going to be waterproofed. You can also get settlement damage. If I wouldn't recommend it on a Queenslander or something that moves a lot, because you are going to get a lot of cracks. Even new builds as well, potentially wouldn't recommend it, because you need to wait for your house to settle before.
Yeah, the foundations have got to settle down
before you're putting in a seamless plaster finish that's potentially 2-3 meters high. Another option is actually a concrete render, or what we would see normally as an external finish, using it internally. Three Birds Renovations, I can't remember which number, I'm running out of which project. I'm forgetting how many houses they're up to now, but their Byron Bay Hinterland project, their bathroom, they actually did in a concrete render and a concrete finish, or like a micro cement. If you want to do your own research, have a look at that. I think that's a beautiful option to get that seamless finish, low maintenance, but a lot more cost effective than your Tadalact or your lime plaster or your Venetian plaster.
Yeah. I guess the only other finish, I think we briefly talked about it, was just painting. And so you can do it on Villaboard, or you get your AquaCheck. I mean, there's other products available, I'm sure, but
we just have to be mindful where we're doing that, though. It needs to be waterproofed, obviously, like behind your bath, behind your vanity, and obviously in your shower enclosure. Yeah.
So as long as it's outside, and there's some really great information online about where everything is, where you need to have things waterproofed, and where you need to have, like, where there are the lower risk zones, like usually where you're putting your tower rail, it's usually out of the spray.
You've even seen, I'm sure we'll probably touch on it next episode in our powder rooms, but we've all been to that really cool bougie nightclub where they've got, or even hotel where they've got like wallpaper in a powder room, panel work. We can, you don't have to be basic white tile on the walls. We can do something different. 100%.
There's measures you can take to kind of skirt around that. The next one that I just want to briefly touch on is, in a bathroom, where are you looking to provide power for things like your toothbrushes? Is that just in your overhead cupboards or?
Overhead cupboards, absolutely. I'm a big fan. I know a lot of people, it kind of went through a bit of a phase where everyone was like, oh, put the GPOs or PowerPoints in the drawers. For someone who has a lot of hair tools in terms of like straighteners and curlers, and I'm not keeping that drawer open just to use it every time. I'm not storing it in my valuable drawer storage. I'll have that in my walk-in robe in a basket somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to have all my makeup, everything that I use on the daily, in those drawers. So I'm still a sucker for a GPO next to the vanity, where it's easily accessible, easily usable. But don't get me wrong, I love, love, love the PowerPoint inside the mirrored cabinet for the charging toothbrush or the shaver, electric shaver, all those things that you just want to hide away. They don't want to be seen.
Beautiful.
Put it away in that.
Going on from that, we talked about lighting a little bit earlier as well, I think, with your home hack.
Yep.
When we're lighting a bathroom, to me, there's 4 different types of lights we could see in there. So you could have, I think,
5.
5.
5.
Oh, geez.
6.
All right, let's
6.
see. All right, I'll go through mine, and then you can take the final one. So downlights, in terms of just providing general lighting.
Yep.
You've got a heat lamp, exhaust fan, general light in one kit.
A 3-in-1.
A 3-in-1. You could have a wall sconce or a wall light to provide a bit of light next to your vanity or your shaving cabinet to give that task lighting in the reflection. And then the only other one I could think of was some LED lighting, maybe under some cabinetry.
LED strips.
Yeah, LED strips.
We've got pendants. You can still do it.
Oh my goodness, I've forgotten pendants.
Yeah, no, you can still do it above, freestanding baths. There is height restrictions and limitations to that.
Look it up.
So your electrician will absolutely be able to guide you through those steps and what's applicable and what's during the within the guidelines. But yeah, pendants, and what was the other one? Motion censored lights.
Oh, good call. Especially for toilets at night.
I did find, I think it was, where was I? I was staying actually in an Airbnb, and they had it like down the hallway. They had, like stair lights, like in wall, really simple stair lights. They had that seamlessly into the plasterboard wall, but they like plastered over it, those like beautiful architectural plaster lights. So they had those down at like just above the skirting height, but they had that in the bathroom as like a walkway through to like the separate toilet, and then they had it in the toilet as well, so they were all censored.
I love that.
And then they even put that sensor on a timer, so from like 9 o'clock at night until 5:30 in the morning, those sensors
That would be looking
would
for
turn on.
movement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really clever. A really nice touch, I think.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. All right. So that's our 6 different types of lighting. We've touched on where you would put power. I guess the only other thing you might need power for is if you're doing a heated towel. So we'll keep that in mind as well.
Or a Toto toilet.
Toto toilet, good call. Don't worry, just ignore that laugh. I'll mention that off air. That's something we've laughed about in the past. You know what it is, yeah. Oh my goodness. Guys, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. So once again, the music you're hearing kind of in the background now, and you heard at the start, that's Robbie. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate it.
Can I say it?
Yeah. Do you
I've never done the outro.
Do you want to do... so before we get to the outro, next week we're going to be touching on laundries and powder rooms, as we promised earlier. There won't be as much content as this in terms of... I mean, the laundry is a big space, but...
I do love laundry design.
I've
got so many hacks for this space. It's one of my favorites.
It's going to be off the chain. So, let's do it. We'll work through that. And you know what? We might even next week... Mikaela's already picked her inspiration gram that she's going to do next week, but I will try and find the nicest laundry that I can that wasn't designed by us, and we'll put it in there.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some great examples.
So keen. Even
Mikaela,
maybe some powder rooms?
Yeah, powder rooms as well.
Yep.
I mean, we'll just go upstairs and someone here, one of the hosts, has a skylight in their powder room.
Necessary.
So Mikaela,
We'll go into it.
Would you like to take it away? Would you like to do our outro?
Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. Send through any questions you have to us through our Instagram at GrabTheTrace. If you can take some time to rate, review, subscribe and share, that would be immensely helpful. We'd really appreciate it. Also like to thank Robbie for our new music that you can hear in the background here. So thanks very much, Robbie. And Lachlan, wow. So thank you for another week and another episode.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much. Thanks everyone for listening, and we hope to see you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Thanks.